everybody, welcome back. We lost last run. You know what? Hold up. We need 5 more deaths. Are you kidding me? To get scissors. You know what? We're gonna do 5 more deaths. That's how we're gonna open this episode. 5 deaths. Hey, hit me. Is it faster to just die as the Lost? It might be. I don't know. I think, you know, let me put it this way. I'm willing to race you to see which one's faster. Obviously, if Judas started with a bomb, we could probably do it a little faster. That's 3. This could save us like a month of farming deaths, essentially. Now, it's not really like we're doing this to get the scissors on the next run. It's more like I'm just doing it so that we could get the scissors on the next run. Hey, let's go. And you know what? Let's do a Judas run now. V9YZ to Boken. I like a Judas run. Plus, it shouldn't be that much of an adjustment because our last run was basically just a grown-up version of a Judas run where we had no HP and an awful lot of damage. Now, mind you, we had triple-digit damage on the last run. You're gonna say, how'd you lose with triple-digit damage? It's not like having damage over a certain threshold really makes it less likely to lose, I'd say. Like, if I had 1,000 damage. At some point, when you're hitting an enemy and it's dying no matter what it is in 1 or 2 hits, your damage doesn't matter that much. But we ended up dying, for your information, probably because of Eve's mascara, which seemed to have made our shots travel less far. Or maybe it was tractor, I don't know. Something, we picked up something at some point and I was like, all these Ipecac shots are hitting me in the face. We couldn't get far enough. Okay, that one was, sometimes you just gotta get 6 deaths. Just to, 7 deaths is also sometimes, that was not a deliberate throw, by the way. MP4P, QTGM. Sometimes you gotta get 7 deaths in a video. That last one wasn't a throw, it was just trying to get the black card before that guy got to it. Not that he was gonna eat it or anything, but you know. I was like, we don't need to worry about getting hit if we pick this up. Alright, let's do better. I actually didn't think we were gonna get hit via Monstro. I'm a little disappointed. I mean, it's like exactly what we need, so I'll tell you what, I'll pick it up. Comes with a nice, nifty little shot speed upgrade as well. Let's try this here. Let's hope, I mean, this shouldn't be the start of a slump. All we gotta do, you know, let's hope it actually is the start of a slump. What's your reasoning there, NL? It sounds ridiculous. My reasoning is so simple. Even a child could understand it. I want to act like a slump is gonna happen, so when we pull out a victory, I've won a psychological battle with myself to keep the slump at bay, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta play little tricks on yourself like that, you know? I'm not even being facetious. I think that's part of like self-management. I treat myself like a child sometimes. No, okay, one more Isaac video, then you can go read up on pointless internet drama or something like that, whatever you want to do, you know? We ration ourselves. Okay, well, if I'm good tonight and I eat healthy, then tomorrow I'll get that donut that I really want or something like that. I think setting limits like that for yourself can be important. I think people, you know, they have the idea sometimes, especially like if you're younger and you're thinking about what life is like as an adult. It's a very juvenile way to think of adult life, isn't that? Like, if I wanted ice cream for dinner, I could have it. I've had some bad dinners in my life. Probably like the first time I ever had, I was like, well, I don't even need to eat dinner tonight if I don't want to. I could just have like potato chips. You're like, this is really cool. The next day, you're like, I should have eaten a vegetable. Technically, potato is a vegetable. They were sour cream and onion flavored. Onion's not a vegetable now? Nah, you know, the thing is like, being an adult, it's less about your parents not being there to tell you what to do. It's more like you are now the parent, and that's a scary thought. I'm gonna quickly check this, well, secret room, thankfully, but the curse room, see if we can get a guppy item. Like, that's the thing, is that It is nice as an adult to have a lot of freedom, no question. But I kind of feel like people, and I don't hear this angle talked about that much. Not everybody has a great relationship with their parents. I recognize that coming straight out of the gate. But if you do, you still get annoyed with them when you live with them for sure. My parents were, well, I mean, they're still alive, but they're lovely people. They raised me well. I didn't turn out to, and I'm not entitled. I'm not, you know, overly spoiled or anything like that. I have a unique viewpoint on life. I think that much is fair to say, but I don't think that's their fault. I think that's my fault. But, you know, even though as good as my parents were in my relationship with them, definitely, like, especially when I moved home after living in Korea, so I was like 22 when I moved home for a few months before coming out here to live in Vancouver. You're like, I don't like that you have to, like, I'd go out and they'd be like, where are you going? And I'd be like, I'm not used to answering that question. I didn't have to answer that question when I lived in Korea. Nobody cared. It was nice. Also terrible. But nice nonetheless. You know what? I'll pay 15 cents. Let's try it out. I'm going to keep it up, I think. And that's what it is like having that level of freedom, that independence is nice. But having your parents or living under your parents' roof is like living... It's like having a personal trainer, but for your life. At least that's the way I see it. I guess it depends on what kind of adult your parents are. But it's like, you know, sometimes as an adult, I'm like, I wish I had someone that, like, forced me to do my homework or forced me to eat right, took care of all my meals. And even if I'm like, I'd rather be eating McDonald's right now, you know, it's better for you in the long run. It's hard to see it at the time, but when you reach adulthood yourself, you may realize that all the things, the limits that your parents placed on you were in your best interest for the most part, you know, instead of just being like, you can't handle this level of responsibility as a child. Oftentimes it's like, you know, it's a very balanced way to lead your life. Ooh, I don't know if I want that. Well, we don't have any option to reroll it, so I guess I definitely do want that. We'll take Gimpy as well. I'm looking for a good trinket. Box of trinkets can give us some good stuff here. Already, it's a 2-luck upgrade. I see your 2-luck shining through. Or maybe, can I give you like a complete mind F? That's right, I don't swear anymore. I'm a family-friendly YouTuber. Maybe your parents lived a very independent life before you were born. And now they were at whatever time, you know, you lived with them, they lived as like the best version of themselves because they wanted to set a good example for their child. Maybe you made your parents' lives more balanced, huh? Wow, what a weird question. Anyway, I have no insight into, you know, the parental side of things, except I have like all of my experience in the realm of parenting has been as the person being parented. If you want to get someone, you know, with some guidance on the other side, you're going to have to talk to Daniel Giesling, who recently had his second child. Well, he didn't have it. He conceived it. His wife had it. It's not like it's not a tough job to be a father, obviously, but definitely when it comes to labor specifically, the father has the easier job. Not an easy job, because, I mean, you'd still rather be, like, you know, at the golf course or something, probably, but... It's not ideal to spend all day at the hospital, I'm sure, but you know, we can talk about that because we're all dudes here. We can talk about that, but don't let your significant other here. They're gonna take it the wrong way. Baby, it's not that watching you give birth was hard. It's more like it's just harder than the average day for me. Well, you push something the size of a watermelon out something the size of a lemon. I had to be there, and it was like wicked stressful. You know, it's not gonna go over, it's not gonna come across as delicately as I think. It's gonna be an indelicate way to describe it. Hey, thanks, Gimpy, I really appreciate that. Let's get off this topic. I still think, like, birth is, like, insanely weird. Like, no matter how far... There's two things about humans that remind me every single day that we're... I mean, obviously, like, taxonomically speaking, we're part of the animal kingdom. Two things every day remind me of the fact that we're animals. One is, to sustain our life, We consume other life and, like, dissolve it in a pit of acid and then suck all the nutrients out of it through specialized cells in our gut. That's freaking crazy. Secondarily, the fact that if you want to, I mean, of course there's like artificial insemination and stuff like that, but the fact that if you want to create the next lineage of yourself, you kind of go like in the right spot, and then, you know, 9 months later, you've created progeny. That seems like the kind of thing Silicon Valley is supposed to have solved by now. I know it's not that easy, but it seems kind of, I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm just saying it seems kind of archaic. You know what I mean? I'm happy with the luck for now, honestly, I think. I don't think we want to roll the dice on that. It just seems like there would be a better way. Again, I'm not against it. I'm not trying to create like a Judge Dredd, the original situation here. He doesn't know what to do with the 3 seashells, etc., etc. I'm just saying it's kind of rudimentary. It's like, oh, what do human beings do for leisure? Oh, other human beings create these incredibly dense, you know, pieces of media for them to enjoy, whether it's music or television or movies, or sometimes they exercise because they have foresight of the fact that their own physical health is determined by their, you know, diet and physical activity. Oh, sometimes they'll read a book written by somebody that died 400 years ago to extend their knowledge. What does a cat do for enjoyment? It lays around. Sometimes it hits like a little toy back and forth and it cleans itself. It eats. You know, these are like, I mean, not that human beings don't eat for enjoyment, but you get the idea. But when you bring it down to brass tacks, we're all going to pass on our seed. It's a little, I'm just saying, I'd like, for me to continue to feel above the animals, I'd like to modernize the process a little bit. Now, how would one do that? I have no idea whatsoever, my dude. It's like a very aggressive, my dude. I have no idea whatsoever, my dude, okay? Hold on, I'm calling your manager. I don't know, man. I think we might want to stick with the D8 now. I love the idea of Mom's Box of Trinkets, and I think long-term it could be a lot of fun. But short-term, we rolled the D8, kind of in a similar risk-reward category. And, hey, wouldn't you look at that, as a result of the D8s, we have less damage, great rate of fire, less damage, and just horrendous speed, which is why I think we need to take something to offset that right away. The more I think about it, like, the more I get freaked out by the fact, because I feel like I'm so above. This is a rude thing to say if you take it out of context, but like when I look at most animals, I'm like, you're stupid. Not like to be rude. Honestly, I'd rather just get over that as soon as possible. Oh my god, our speed got worse. Hey, that's good though. I'm not trying to be rude to the animal, but like compared to a human being, if there's a dictionary definition of stupid, most dogs, an average dog, let's put it that way, is stupid, very stupid, compared to an average human being, obviously. You're dealing with a brain that's like, you know, 1/16 the mass or something like that. But then, as much as I want to feel like I'm a different class of organism, I'm sort of not, you know? At the end of the day, there were 3 cents there. That's ridiculous. At the end of the day, you know, if we were both starving, and you threw like a juicy steak into a cage with me and a dog, I gotta end up fighting that dog. I might lose, despite my big brain. Don't really want that, honestly. So we're all animals in the end. I think when people realize that, no, I don't mean like when society wakes up, but I mean everybody, you know, usually in like your first year of college or last year of high school has a revelation that sounds a little bit like, dude, you ever realize that we're just like actually animals when you think about it? Well, we got great speed, but I don't know if our run, if the juice is worth the squeeze here, so to speak. We have bombs. Throw some bombs in there. Thank you. Because we really want this deal with the devil as well. But I think some people use that as justification. There's always like weird Gordon Gekko types, you know, the kinds of kids who've been wearing a suit to school since they were like 16. No offense if that's you, but maybe, you know, take a look in the mirror after I say what I'm about to say, and they'll be like, I shouldn't treat people nicely, because in the end of the day, we're all just animals competing with one another. And then there's people who take the other tact, and I think that's where I'm at, which is more like, hey, we're animals, but we're like self-aware animals that it might not be in our nature, but we have the capacity to be better than that. You know, we have the capacity to not sell out our brothers and sisters just to get an extra piece of bread or something like that. So that's where I'm at. I think, you know, awareness of the fact that we're all creatures, you know, subject to the same kind of whims as any other animal, and then some. You know, it's the first step in treating everybody a little bit more nicely. Then again, the advent and popularity of social media really feels that created such a high degree of tribalism in our society that maybe I should just put a suit on and start treating people like garbage. No, but it's... I don't have the desire. It's nice to be a nice person. I'm not a nice person necessarily. Like, a lot of my anecdotes when I go to the grocery store, for example, are predicated upon judging other people. But I think judging other people in a humorous way that's not malicious isn't actually mean. Like, sometimes people frame that as mean, and it's certainly not nice. I'm not going to the grocery store and in my head I'm like, oh, this person has such nice hair. But like, have you ever laughed? Okay, I guess I'll be taking 7 seals then. Have you ever laughed at a joke? Like, every joke has a butt to the joke, except like a knock-knock joke. You know, some of the funniest things in the world are funny because they're at other people's expense. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Oh, good. An incredible range upgrade. And the way that it works is that, you know, things are usually funny when they're not at your expense. Or they're funnier when they're not at your expense. It takes a big person to laugh at themselves as hard as they laugh at something that happened to them happening to somebody else. So I think you just acknowledge that, you know, there's gonna be a butt to every joke, but if you can tell the joke respectfully and the other person doesn't feel pain as a result of it, that's the humane way, you know? It's like some kind of comedy slaughterhouse, which is pretty much the genre of the NLSS as far as I consider it. Like, everybody laughed and had a good time when I mentioned the dude who's been wearing a suit every day since he was 16, except the dude who was wearing a suit every day since he was 16. But when I make fun of somebody at the grocery store taking too long to pick out a single can of beans, everybody's like, what if they have exactly 51 cents in their bank account? And one of the cans of beans is 53 cents and one of them is 51 cents. You ever think about that? You know, everyone pulls out the logical extremes when you get in a situation like that. This might be the perfect situation for us to stick with here. We got okay speed, good rate of, well, great rate of fire even, great damage for where we are in the game. There's a viable chance that this is like where we want to be. So I'll just be taking Mom's box of trinkets now, and I'll be on my way. What do you mean it's stuck back earlier in the game? I don't understand. Dude, we can actually think for the future here. Put a bomb here. Put a bomb here. Well, the Lovers is not a great card right now. It could be if we find, we're not going to find an arcade because it's Dank Depths 1. We're not likely to find an arcade, I should say. It's pretty lucky. What I was really looking for, I don't think we can do that. What I was really looking for was a teleport card. And our shop, we got the Steam sale. So our next shop could be good, but our current shop is a waste of our time right now. That was very dumb. That was almost substantially dumber. I don't know. Where on a D8 run do you go, you know, enough's enough? Because I definitely just rerolled this one too far, at least for the time being, on a short-term mindset. This is way worse than the run that came before it. The roll that came before it, I should say. And this probably is too, but we'll see. I want deep... Oh, dude, this might be it, actually. I'm loving this rate of fire again. I just want enough damage that I never feel compelled to use my orbitals, and that's probably unrealistic, so I'll give you another one. I want enough damage so that if I try to use my orbital, the enemy's already dead from me shooting at it by the time I arrive. Even just psychologically having a high rate of fire helps. I don't think we want Lazy Worm. Anyway, the thing is, if you ever see me at a grocery store, I don't want you to go home and think, oh, NL's probably gonna make fun of me. But if you don't want to get made fun of, maybe you should realize that they have the prices for the beans printed on these cards that appear below the beans, and all beans, I'm not talking about baked beans and ketchup or maple syrup or something like that, they're pretty much all the same nutritional information. It's not like, you know, the beans being grown on Ryan's farm are gonna be a markedly different physical composition than the beans grown on, you know, George's farm. It just boggles my mind. Maybe I've got a bad grocery store algorithm though. Price comparison shopping, I totally understand, because like my grocery store algorithm is so efficient. I don't know if it's that good, but it's very efficient. There's only like 6 steps. What do I need from the grocery store? If I need this, what's my preferred brand, if applicable? Then look at the price for my preferred brand versus the price for all other brands. Is the price difference worth paying the extra for the preferred brand? If so, take the preferred brand. If not, take the unpreferred brand. For example, I eat a lot of granola bars. They're not like a health food, but they're a very calorically dense food that I can eat quickly in between recording episodes. And you know, I could live my life eating like a granola bar for breakfast, a granola bar for lunch, and then like a big dinner. Doesn't bother me at all. I like Kind bars, but they're really expensive. It's like $2 a bar. Sometimes $2 Canadian. Even at like a case price, you know? You might get down to like $1.50 if you're able to buy in bulk. In which case, congratulations on living in a freaking mansion. But you know, most of the time you end up paying like $2 a bar. So, predominantly, I buy Nature Valley, which does anybody here work at Nature Valley? Because at the grocery store I go to, I have never seen them not be on sale. A box of 4 Kind bars is $8.50 most of the time. A box of Nature Valley granola bars is 5 for $10, which is not, it's $2 a box, basically. For 10 bars. Well, you know, it's 5 packages of 2 bars each. But normally you eat both bars in the same sitting unless you're like 7. I'm not trying to shame you, I'm just saying literally, like each one's 110 calories. So if you want a reasonable snack as an adult, and you're not eating again for a couple hours, you're gonna have both bars. Okay, we'll take this. Might as well roll composts instead of the D8, I think. If we become Guppy, we're gonna just be in love with. Oh, we love it. We love it. That's unreasonably cheap. And it's a good thing. Like, I'm not mad about it. But, well, I guess we're not going to Boss Rush, huh? That's a decision where I definitely am like, I almost never take the preferred brand. Because it's just, the juice ain't worth the squeeze to me. Well, we got a great, like, little synergy going here with compost. I think we'll take Black Candle. And this run, despite looking a little dicey, this run is beautiful now. You might have a different grocery store algorithm, by the way. Same thing, like, I never, or almost never, look at the grocery store flyer. Oh, you fool, you didn't go to the item room. That's okay, our flies are gonna do so much work for us. Sometimes I look at it, and I'm like, this thing that I was gonna buy is on sale. Sweet. I look at it as like a movie trailer. It's like, this is what I'm gonna pay for the thing I was probably gonna buy anyway. And sometimes, I'll be honest, if I'm on the fence about something, that flyer advertising something's on sale might suck me in. You know, if I'm like, I really shouldn't buy potato chips, and then they're like, potato chips, 4 bags for $6, I'm like, well, I got no choice now. Actually, that's what keeps me from buying potato chips that often. If I'm willing to apply like the opposite. So often I go to the grocery store and it has like kettle cooked chips. And the kettle cooked chips are like 6 for $10. And I'm like, I can't justify buying 6 bags of potato chips, because then I'm gonna eat 6 bags of potato chips. But I can't justify buying 1 bag of potato chips, because then I'm not paying the bulk unit price and I'm getting ripped off. So I go, fine, I'll just eat some dried bananas instead. The grocery store is like inadvertently helping my waistline when they do prices like that. Now, mind you, if you're in the market for potato chips, that's a pretty good deal. Those kettle cooked chips, I'm not saying they're, you know, outrageously, you know, expensive per unit to produce, but like, it's a pretty good deal. Those are an artisan chip to some extent. No, it's not Hostess, let me put it that way. I find it funny, like, a bag of potato chips is like $2, and a bag of tortilla chips is like $4.50. Is it like, did they do market research and they're like, well, people with gross household incomes between X and Y tend to prefer potato chips, and then these bougie marketing executives and CEOs love tortilla chips instead, so they just priced it higher? Or is it actually like that much more expensive to produce a tortilla chip than it is to produce a potato chip? I have no idea. Do tortilla chips sell a little bit less? Ergo, you have to sell... Oh my god, we're so lucky. You have to sell more tortilla chips? I told you, we're not losing this run. What is that? No. When NL says you're not losing a run, you're not losing a run. So buckle up, because it's going to be a bumpy win. Jesus Juice, you are not helping. Okay, we need, and like, extreme literal sense of the word, we need to look around for some HP. And luckily we found some. I always appreciate when the game is kind enough to let me play badly and still survive a little longer. There's stuff at the grocery store where I'm like, who buys this? Like, and I'm not, you know, gonna go too in detail. Occasionally we shop at Whole Foods. It's the most expensive grocery store on planet Earth. They do have a lot of stuff that I would consider very good. There are people who are like, Whole Foods is the same food, it's just more expensive. For a lot of things, 100% actually absolutely correct. But, you know, for specific things, like if you want good cheese, 10 out of 10. Best butcher shop in the city as far as I'm concerned as well, which is crazy. I understand. But anyway, there are some things in that store that I just do not understand. And it's coming from a person who's not necessarily hurting in the finance department, but I just don't understand at what point in your life you go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try something. It totally worked. I don't understand if you ever, like, I don't think I'll ever hit this point in my life where I see a box of, like, vegan marshmallows, and there's 6 marshmallows, and it's $5. I'm not paying you, it will never happen that I pay you 90 cents a marshmallow. There's no world in which that exists. That I will go to the grocery store and buy marshmallows at that price. I don't buy marshmallows. If you go to, you buy like the normal marshmallows, you can get like 1,000 marshmallows for free. Now, I might not have fully checked my facts on that one, but they're cheap, okay? That's the important part. There's ridiculous stuff there. I'm being serious with you. There's, I drink so much cold brew coffee, it might actually be, like, troubling to the average person. Dude, compost is so much more fun than delirium, I'm sorry to say. Because it's a rarer item, but compost is way more fun. Wait, we want to do it like this. I drink so much cold brew. Like, people might find it ridiculous. I make my own cold brew at home. Cold brew is already more expensive to make than normal, like, drip coffee, because you end up using, like, at least a third more coffee to produce the same amount of coffee. Like, a third more of beans. Probably more than a third more, but anyway. When I hear that old song they used to play. But sometimes I'll buy prepackaged cold brew, because we live in, like, a hipster city where that exists en masse. There's plenty of options. Usually, it's around $4 a liter. It's not too bad. As a couple of days of cold brew coffee, I can live with that for the convenience of not having to make my own and let it. The thing with cold brew is, and this is not really Ryan's coffee hour, but in order to brew cold brew coffee, you do need time. If you forget to make it, you know, you're out like 12 hours. So sometimes it's just a convenience factor associated with it. But anyway, we're at a Whole Foods. Sometimes there's like $20 cold brew that's not even cold brew concentrate, and it's like 1.5 liters. I'm like, what? There's no. The trade cannot be fair enough. Like, I understand the concept of fair trade, and I'm not trying to make a joke at other human beings' expenses, but the coffee might be fair trade, but it's not a fair trade when I get up to the cash register and I go, this thing's really 20 bucks? I thought that was way funnier than anybody else is gonna think it is, and that's the curse of being the world's funniest man, I suppose. No other plausible explanation. Like, sometimes Kate will be like, why don't you try a different kind of cold brew? And I'm like, I look at it's like a can of cold brew that's 150 milliliters for $5.50. And I'm like, this cannot, I want to speak to your manager just to figure out, is this actually selling? Like, I don't want a discount. You've got me all wrong. I'm not trying to pick up this coffee on the cheap. I will never buy it. Because it offends me on a human level. I just want to know, can you show me, like, your accounting? Is this actually selling? Because it's a tiny little, like a Red Bull sized can of cold brew is $5.50. I don't buy it. I don't buy that you're actually selling it. I'm not trying to say it shouldn't be for sale either. We don't have orbitals, so I think I'm going to ignore Taurus. I'm just trying to say that I believe that that's like a money laundering scam or something. Like somebody is like, you know, the nephew of the CEO of Microsoft is like, hey uncle, I really want to launch my cold brew line, and then, you know, Microsoft CEO is like, it's going to operate at a loss, but we'll just keep it in stores to keep his self-esteem up. Like, something like that's got to be happening. It just doesn't make sense. By the way, there's going to be like conspiracy theories. People are going to think I'm talking about Madrinas. I'm not talking about Madrinas. Madrinas is like $3 a can for flavored coffee, and they're huge. They're like 500 milliliters each. I'm not trying to sell you on Madrinas. I got no like sponsorship from Madrinas on like Nick and Bear. And that's gonna sound like a knock against them. It's not meant that way either. I'm just saying I'm not on the payroll. I'm just saying there is a difference in terms of volume and the fact that it's like a flavored product. Not that flavored cold brew is necessarily worth more. You get the idea, you know? I'm just, there are things in that grocery store that I do not understand. Like, $8 for 2 bowls of soup? I can get you there. For a good homemade-esque hearty soup, I'll meet you in the middle. It's too expensive, but you know what? You got a captive audience. I got a sore throat. I'll take 2 bowls of the chicken tortilla soup, please. But when it's like it's a holistic vegan vitamin cocktail, and I'm like, this is $45 for 10 capsules? What on earth is... I want to speak to the manager. I just don't buy it. And I don't buy it, obviously. We were in that grocery store that shall not be named, and they were doing like an event at a coffee shop above it, where they were selling... We like this brewery called Phillips, and they were selling a Phillips beer that hadn't been heard of before from this little mini keg, and we're like, yeah, it'll be fun, let's go and have like a drink before we go grocery shopping. So we went and we had a drink. I swear to you that from the balcony of this coffee shop that was on top of the grocery store and looked into it, I saw a man spend about 15 minutes sniffing oranges. He would pick up the same, he wasn't going like, you know, Valencia, Mandarin. Valencia, man, he was just standing at the navel oranges. He'd pick up an orange, put it to his nose, take a deep, deep sniff, put it back down. Go grab another one, do exactly the same thing. I'm not policing this dude's enjoyment of oranges. By all means, if you enjoy the smell of an orange, it's a relatively harmless way to get it done, as long as you're not, you know, getting your snot on the peel or something like that, because I'm probably going to touch it with my bare hands. But apart from that, it's a victimless crime. But it is very strange. I know by smelling a fruit, you can get maybe some gauge of its freshness. But like in my head, I was only like, there's 2 plausible explanations. This dude is out of his mind, or He's like an incredible chef, like a 5-star chef. Oh, dude. Give me the shoe. And he needs the perfect orange. He's got like the prime minister's coming for dinner, and he's like, I don't have the perfect orange. They all smell like crap. Heads over to Whole Foods. And he's like, while I'm here, I'm going to get a $45 6-pack of cold brew cans. Might as well pick out the world's most fresh-smelling orange. Yeah, I judge other people for their behavior in the grocery store. It's really only in a few situations in which I actually interact with people I end up judging them. You know, for the most part, I'm very understanding that... Oh, that was pretty stupid. You know, people come from different walks of life, and what seems like a stupid decision to me or you might seem like a smarter decision for them in that moment in time, given the experiences that they've had in their life, you know? When I'm at the grocery store or I'm driving, I'm like, we should just restart humanity. Just hit the reset button. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. Remember, we're all animals. If you enjoyed the episode, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.